The Milkmaid and Her Pail. A new day in the village. Once upon a time, in a cheerful little village surrounded by rolling green hills and sparkling streams, there lived a kind-hearted milkmaid named Daisy. Every morning, just as the first light of dawn painted the sky with soft hues of pink and orange, Daisy would rise with a smile. She lived in a cozy cottage on the edge of the village, where the air was filled with the scent of fresh bread and blooming flowers. Daisy's day began with gentle chores at home. Her mother would call out from the kitchen, reminding her to be careful and to enjoy the beauty of the morning. With her trusty straw hat perched on her head, Daisy would set off to tend to Buttercup, the family's gentle cow. Buttercup was a magnificent creature with kind eyes and a calm demeanor, and she always greeted Daisy with a soft, reassuring moo. A pleasant morning with Buttercup. In the dewy fields, Daisy led Buttercup to a patch of lush green grass. The cow grazed happily, and Daisy enjoyed the quiet companionship of nature. As she worked, Daisy sang little tunes that had been passed down through generations, her voice mingling with the chirping of birds and the whisper of the wind. The entire village seemed to wake up in harmony with her gentle spirit. After a while, Daisy filled her sturdy pail with fresh, creamy milk. The pail, painted with bright, cheerful colors, was not just a tool for work. It was also a symbol of hope and possibility. With the full pail balanced carefully on her head, Daisy began her journey to the village market. Today, as on every day, she was filled with excitement about the possibilities that lay ahead. Dreams along the way. As Daisy strolled along the winding dirt path, her eyes sparkled with dreams of the future. In her mind, she began to plan a wonderful new life with the money she would earn from selling Buttercup's milk. With these coins, she thought, I can buy a dozen fresh eggs at the market, and from those eggs, I can raise a flock of happy chickens that will lay eggs every day. Daisy imagined herself tending to the chickens in a sunny little yard. In her daydream, the chickens clucked merrily as they pecked at scattered grains, and she would collect eggs in a pretty basket. With the extra money, she dreamed of buying a bright new dress, tying pretty ribbons in her hair, and even saving up to buy a small, charming cottage of her own someday. As Daisy's dreams grew bigger and brighter, she started to imagine not only a new dress or a cottage, but a whole world full of promise and adventure. She pictured hosting festive picnics under a grand oak tree, laughing with new friends, and even starting a little garden full of delicious vegetables. With every step along the road, her heart danced with joy at the wonderful future she was planning in her mind. A world of possibilities and a hidden danger. The village market was still a little way off, and Daisy found herself deep in thought. She barely noticed the tiny stones and pebbles that lay scattered on the road. The warm sun, the gentle breeze, and the happy sounds of the countryside all contributed to her carefree daydream. Yet, as with many beautiful things, there was a small danger lurking in the details. Daisy's mind was so busy imagining her bright future that she did not see the little rock lying near the edge of the path. It was just a small, ordinary stone, but in that moment, it became the unexpected obstacle in her dream-filled journey. The fateful moment. Just as Daisy was picturing herself smiling and laughing in her future cottage, her foot caught on the little rock. In that split second, the balance on her head was lost. The pail wobbled dangerously, and before she could steady it, the full pail of milk slipped from her head. Time seemed to slow as the milk tumbled down and splashed onto the dusty road. Daisy stopped in her tracks and looked down in dismay. The rich, creamy milk, the promise of her future dreams, was gone, spilled out onto the path in a swift, irreversible moment. The beautiful vision of eggs, chickens, dresses, and picnics began to fade away like mist in the morning sun. A heart filled with regret. Daisy's eyes filled with tears as she cradled the empty pail. The shock of the accident was overwhelming, and with it came the sorrow of realizing that her dreams had been washed away with the spilled milk. The road seemed to stretch out before her, a reminder that sometimes our plans can vanish in an instant if we are not careful. As she sat by the roadside, trying to hold back her tears, a soft voice approached her. It was Mrs. Maple, an elderly woman known throughout the village for her gentle wisdom and kind smile. Mrs. Maple had been on her way to the market when she saw Daisy's distress. She knelt beside the milkmaid, offering a comforting hand and a warm smile. A lesson from a wise friend. "Dear child," Mrs. Maple said softly, "I see you are sad because of what has happened. Let me share a little wisdom with you." She sat down on a nearby stone, inviting Daisy to join her. "It is wonderful to have dreams and to imagine a bright future, but you must always remember to take care of what you have now." Daisy listened intently, wiping away her tears. Mrs. Maple continued, "You see, just like this milk, dreams can spill away if we are not careful. It is important to work hard and focus on the present before counting on what might come tomorrow. This is why people say, 'Don't count your eggs before they hatch.'" Daisy nodded slowly, understanding the message. "I am so sorry," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I was so busy dreaming about the future that I forgot to be careful with the present." Mrs. Maple smiled gently and patted Daisy's hand. "We all make mistakes, my dear. The important thing is to learn from them. Now, even though your milk is spilled, remember that every day brings new opportunities. If you work hard and stay focused, you will have many more chances to build your dreams." A new beginning. Feeling the warmth of Mrs. Maple's kindness, Daisy slowly stood up. Though her dreams had been shattered in that moment, she resolved to learn from her mistake. She took a deep breath and gathered herself, determined to be more mindful in the future. As they walked together toward the market, Mrs. Maple shared more stories about her own youthful dreams and the lessons she had learned along the way. Daisy listened with rapt attention, and slowly, her sadness began to be replaced by hope and determination. At the market, even though Daisy did not have any milk to sell that day, the villagers greeted her with warm smiles and kind words. They all knew her gentle spirit, and they were confident that she would find success through hard work and perseverance. Daisy realized that sometimes a small setback can lead to a greater understanding of life's important lessons. Living with the lesson. From that day forward, Daisy carried the lesson of the spilled milk close to her heart. Each morning, as she tended to Buttercup and filled her pail with fresh milk, she reminded herself to focus on the present. She learned to balance her dreams with care, ensuring that every step she took was steady and sure. Slowly but surely, Daisy rebuilt her dreams. With patience and diligence, she saved enough money to buy small improvements for her cottage and to purchase a few more supplies for Buttercup's care. Over time, she even began to keep a small diary of her progress, writing down each achievement and the lessons learned along the way. The villagers noticed the change in Daisy. She became known not only for her kind heart and gentle smile, but also for her wisdom and hard work. Other children in the village would often gather around her, listening to the story of the spilled milk, and learning the valuable lesson of staying focused on the present while still dreaming of a bright future. A message for all. And so, the tale of Daisy the Milkmaid and Her Pail became a cherished story in the village. Parents told it to their children, reminding them that while it is wonderful to dream big and imagine all the wonderful things the future may hold, one must always take care of the present and work hard for every small step along the way. Moral of the story: don't count your eggs before they hatch. Dreaming is beautiful, but it is important to focus on what you have right now. Work hard, be mindful, and take care of your present responsibilities, for they are the building blocks of a bright and secure future.